Tonight, we travel to Semarang, Central Java, Indonesia, to a building with 1,000 doors and one ghost who has been waiting since 1945, Lawang Sewu. In Javanese, it means 1,000 doors, built by the Dutch colonial government in 1904 as the headquarters of the Netherlands East Indies Railway Company. An architectural masterpiece. High ceilings, stained glass windows, sweeping staircases, over 7,000 square meters of offices, meeting halls, and tunnels connecting to the nearby railway station. But beauty cannot hide history, and history here is written in blood. During World War II, when Japan invaded Indonesia in 1942, Lawang Sewu became something else, a prison, an interrogation center, a place where screams echoed through those 1,000 doors, and no one came to help. The Dutch were imprisoned here by the very people who built it. Japanese soldiers used the basement as an execution chamber. They say 500 people died in those dark corridors beneath the building. Dutch, Indonesian, anyone who resisted. And in 1945, just days before Japan surrendered, a Dutch woman was beheaded in the basement. Her name is lost to history, but her presence remains. Locals call her Kuntilanak Belanda, the Dutch Kuntilanak, the headless woman in white. For nearly 80 years, she has wandered the basement corridors, searching. They say she is looking for her head. Some say she is looking for revenge. This is the documented investigation of Lawang Sewu. The testimonies are real. The evidence is documented. The history cannot be denied. Let us begin. Lawang Sewu stands at the heart of Semarang. Impossible to miss. Twin towers rise above the surrounding streets, built in Dutch colonial style. Ornate, elegant, a monument to empire. The front facade faces Tugu Muda, a memorial to Indonesian independence fighters. The symbolism is not lost. Colonial headquarters, facing Resistance Memorial. Oppressor and oppressed, frozen in architecture. The building has 4 main wings. Wing A housed administrative offices. Wing B contained the director's quarters and operational rooms. Wing C held storage and utilities. And beneath it all, the basement, a network of tunnels connecting the wings. Dark, cold, built for storage and maintenance. But during the occupation, it became something else. Construction workers who renovated the building in the 1990s reported strange occurrences. Tools disappearing, shadows moving where no light should cast them, cold spots in tropical heat, and sounds from the basement. Footsteps, dragging, a woman's voice speaking Dutch. One worker refused to continue after seeing her, a woman in a white colonial-era dress, standing in the basement corridor. Her neck ended in darkness, where her head should be, only void. The Indonesian government now maintains Lawang Sewu as a historical site. Tours are permitted, but certain areas remain restricted. The basement sections where the executions took place, where the woman was seen. Staff members have protocols. Do not go to the basement alone. Do not respond if someone calls your name in Dutch. Do not enter Wing B basement after sunset. Do not touch the walls in the execution chamber. They are stained with something that will not wash away. In March 1942, Japanese forces swept through Indonesia. The Netherlands East Indies fell in days. Lawang Sewu, symbol of Dutch power, became a Japanese military command post. Officers requisitioned the upper floors. The basement became a prison. Historical records document this. The Japanese 16th Army established a Kempeitai unit here. Military police, interrogation specialists. Indonesian resistance fighters were brought to the basement, Dutch civilians who refused to cooperate, Chinese merchants suspected of supporting Allied forces. They went down through a side entrance that still exists today. Most never came back up. A survivor's testimony, recorded in 1947, describes the basement. You could hear them from the offices above. The screaming. It would go on for hours. Then it would stop, and you knew. Another account mentions a woman, Dutch, wife of a railway administrator. She was accused of hiding documents, maps, information about supply lines. They took her to the basement. What happened there, the records do not specify, but her body was never returned to the surface for proper burial. Indonesian independence was declared August 17, 1945. Japan surrendered 2 days later. Allied forces arrived to take control. When they entered Lawang Sewu, they found the building abandoned. Japanese soldiers had fled. The basement was sealed. They did not open it for 3 weeks. When they finally did, they found evidence of what had occurred: execution posts, tools, and remains, many remains. But documentation was incomplete. Many victims were never identified. Many families never knew what happened to their loved ones. Among the unidentified was a European woman. Records indicate female, age approximately 30 to 40. Cause of death, decapitation. No identification papers, no personal effects. She was buried in a mass grave with other unidentified victims. Her head was never found. Some accounts suggest it was kept as a trophy. Others say it was thrown into the Semarang River. The truth is lost, but according to every witness who has encountered her, she is still searching. The first documented sighting occurred in 1948, 3 years after the war ended. Railway workers were clearing debris from the basement to restore operations. One worker, Superman, reported seeing a woman in white standing at the end of a corridor. He called out. She did not respond. He approached. She moved around the corner. He followed, found nothing, but the air was cold, and he smelled something. Flowers, frangipani, the scent used in Indonesian funeral rites. In 1962, during renovations, construction, Supervisor Hadi reported his crew refused to work in Wing B basement. They claimed a woman appeared repeatedly. White dress, European features. She would stand watching them. When approached, she would vanish. But later, tools would be moved. Doors would be locked from the inside. Cold drafts would blow through sealed rooms. Hadi brought in a dukun, a traditional spiritual healer. The dukun performed rituals, burned incense, chanted prayers, but the apparitions continued. The dukun told Hadi, she does not want peace. She wants what was taken. We cannot give that back. A security guard in 1979 encountered her directly. His testimony was recorded by local police after he was found unconscious near the basement entrance. He reported being on patrol at 2 a.m. His route included checking the basement corridors. He opened the access door, shined his flashlight, saw her standing 15 meters away, facing away. White dress, long brown hair, Dutch style. He called out, asking if she needed help. She turned, but her head did not turn with her body, because there was no head, just darkness above the neck, empty space that seemed to absorb his flashlight beam. He dropped the light, ran, collapsed at the top of the stairs. He refused to ever return to Lawang Sewu. Tour guides today have their own encounters. One guide, Siti, has worked at Lawang Sewu for 12 years. She has seen the Headless woman 4 times, always in the basement, always in the same corridor. Wing B, Section 3, near the old interrogation room. City describes her as solid, not transparent or ghostly. You do not realize anything is wrong until you notice the head, the way the dress collar ends in nothing, the way sound seems muffled when she appears. City has learned to recognize the signs. Temperature drop, sudden silence, the smell of frangipani mixed with something metallic, copper, blood. When these signs appear, City takes her tour groups back upstairs. She does not take chances. She has seen what happens to people who try to approach. They become disoriented, lost, even in familiar corridors. One tourist in 2015 tried to photograph her. His camera malfunctioned. When he chased after the figure, he got lost for 40 minutes in a corridor that should take 2 minutes to walk. When security found him, he was sitting against a wall, unresponsive. He had to be hospitalized for shock. Paranormal investigators have documented dozens of encounters. Thermal imaging shows temperature anomalies in the basement corridors. EVP recordings capture a woman's voice speaking Dutch. Audio analysis confirms the language. Translators report she repeatedly says, "Where is het? Where is it?" Investigators believe she is searching for her head. Shadow figures appear on infrared cameras. Footsteps are recorded when no one is present. In 2018, a team captured footage that went viral. A white figure moving through a sealed corridor. When they reviewed the footage frame by frame, they found something disturbing. The figure casts no shadow, and in several frames, you can see through it to the wall beyond. But the details are clear. White dress, Victorian collar, brown hair, everything except what should be above the shoulders. In October 2023, we received permission from the Indonesian government to conduct a formal investigation of Lawang Sewu. Full access, including restricted areas, including the basement sections where the headless woman is most frequently sighted. We assembled a team: paranormal researchers, historians, Indonesian cultural consultants, and a dukun from the local community to provide spiritual guidance and protection. The dukun performed opening rituals. Offerings were made. Permission was requested from the spirits to enter their space. In Javanese tradition, you do not simply walk into a haunted place. You announce yourself. You show respect. You ask permission. Without this, you risk angering what dwells there. We entered through the main entrance. The building during daylight is beautiful. Sunlight streams through stained glass. The architecture is stunning. But as you descend toward the basement, the atmosphere changes. The temperature drops noticeably. The ornate decoration disappears. You enter utilitarian corridors. Concrete, dim lighting. The sound of the city above fades. You're aware of depth, of pressure, of being beneath tons of stone and earth. Wing B basement, section 3. The interrogation corridor. We set up equipment, thermal cameras, audio recorders, EMF detectors, standard paranormal investigation gear, but also something traditional. The dukun placed offerings at the corridor entrance: flowers, incense, rice, a small mirror. In Javanese belief, spirits are drawn to mirrors. They see their reflection or search for what they have lost. We began at 8 p.m. For the first hour, nothing. Standard readings, normal temperature. Then at 9:07 p.m., the temperature dropped, 8 degrees in 30 seconds. Our breath became visible in the tropical heat. The EMF detector spiked. No electrical sources nearby. No explanation. At 9:15 p.m., our audio recorder captured something. A woman's voice, clear, speaking Dutch. Our translator later confirmed the words, "Waar is het?" Ik kan het niet vinden. Where is it? I cannot find it. At 9:23 p.m., the thermal camera registered a human-shaped heat signature at the end of the corridor, but no one was there. The signature was cold, not hot, a reverse thermal image, as if absorbing heat rather than emitting it. The figure remained for 47 seconds, then faded. At 9:31 p.m., we all experienced it. The smell, frangipani flowers, overwhelming. Then beneath it, copper, metallic, blood. The dukun spoke quietly in Javanese. Later he told us he was asking her to show herself, to communicate, to tell us what she needed. At 9:35 p.m., we heard footsteps, coming from the corridor ahead, slow, measured, getting closer. Our cameras recorded this. The sound is clear, distinct, footsteps on concrete, but we saw nothing. The footsteps stopped directly in front of us, 3 meters away. We stood in silence, waiting. The dukun spoke again, in Dutch this time. He asked her name, asked what she needed, asked if we could help her find peace. The response came not as sound, but as feeling, a presence, overwhelming, not malevolent, not threatening, but desperate, searching, lost. One team member described it as drowning, the sensation of being unable to reach the surface, of being trapped beneath something you cannot see or fight, of searching for air that is not there. The moment passed. The temperature returned to normal. The smell faded. The presence withdrew. But on our audio recorder, at exactly 9:38 p.m., a final phrase was captured. Help me, alstublieft. Help me, please. What haunts Lawang Sewu? Is it the spirit of the Dutch woman executed in 1945? Is it collective trauma, soaked into the walls by hundreds of deaths? Is it memory made manifest through belief and repetition? The evidence is documented. The sightings are numerous. The historical context is verified. 500 people died in those basement corridors. Their deaths were violent. Their burials were unmarked. In Javanese culture, proper burial rites are essential. Without them, the spirit cannot rest, cannot move on, becomes trapped between worlds. The woman in white fits this pattern, executed, decapitated, buried nameless, her head never found, in death as in life, incomplete, searching for what was taken, for her identity, for peace that cannot come without wholeness. The Indonesian government continues to maintain Lawang Sewu. It is protected as a cultural heritage site, an important reminder of colonial history and Japanese occupation. Tours are permitted. Paranormal investigations are allowed with proper permits, but certain protocols remain. Do not enter the basement alone. Do not provoke or mock what dwells there. Show respect. In Indonesia, the supernatural is not entertainment. It is real. It is dangerous, and it demands acknowledgement. If you visit Lawang Sewu, you will see a beautiful building, elegant architecture, interesting history. But if you descend to the basement, if you walk those corridors where 500 people died, if you smell frangipani mixed with copper, if you feel the temperature drop, if you hear footsteps where no one walks, do not run, do not provoke, show respect, and remember she is still searching for what was taken, for what she lost, for the part of herself that ensures peace. And until she finds it, she will walk those 1,000 doors, forever incomplete, forever searching, forever trapped in the moment of her death. What do you think? Is the headless Dutch woman of Lawang Sewu a genuine spirit trapped by violent death and improper burial? Or is she a cultural manifestation of collective trauma given form through decades of belief and testimony, The evidence exists. The history is documented. The encounters continue. Lawang Sewu remains one of the most actively haunted locations in Southeast Asia. If you have visited Lawang Sewu, if you have encountered something in those basement corridors, share your experience in the comments below. Your testimony matters. Your story adds to the documentation. Don't forget to subscribe for more true paranormal investigations from across Asia.